Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. Today is one of those shows that's a treat for me because it's one with a real-life friend. Alyce Lopez is the principal of the True House in Chula Vista, California. Alyce and I first met in the designer Facebook groups, and then we have since met each other several times at various markets. With each visit, I have been more and more impressed by Alyce. Alyce will be in business just 3 years this March 2019, and she has come out of the gate very strong. Here are some of the things that I've learned about Alyce during several conversations that I've had with her, both in real life and on the podcast today. Alyce knows being an interior designer is her business, not a hobby. Alyce sets specific intentions, specific goals for her business, and she tracks if she's reaching them or if she's falling short of them. She runs her business with her family in mind, and she and her husband have criteria for measuring the success of each. For example, they live debt-free, both in her business and in their family. There are many things to learn from today's discussion with Alyce, and I'll leave it to Alyce to fill you in on the rest. But before we get to that, have you checked out My Doma Studio yet? If the answer is, no, not yet, well, you need to get on that ASAP. My Doma Studio is the number one tool, the number one software platform for you to help make sure your interior design firm is a business and not a hobby. Professional project management from start to finish, your mood boards, your invoices, your communications with clients and vendors, creating ebooks for lead generation, time tracking, and more. It's all there. What are you waiting for? Go check them out today at mydomastudio.com/a-well-designed-business. Are you ready to run your firm like the big guys? Try My Doma Studio now. mydomastudio.com/a-well-designed-business. Now, let me introduce you to Alyce. Hi, Alyce. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Thank you for having me, LuAnn.
So, Alyce, I am so grateful that we've been getting to know each other these last couple of markets, right? We've run into each other in Vegas and High Point and all kinds of things, right?
Yes, we've had a great time.
I know. It's fun. I love taking the conversations from, the internet and Instagram and Facebook to real life. And you and I have been lucky because we've had it a couple of times. So, because of that, I'm getting to know you more than some of the guests that I have on the show, where the first time I speak with them is here for the podcast. And what I have been learning about you, Alyce, is that, you're a hashtag baby designer, but you're really also a smart lady.
So, thank you.
Yeah. So your business is not quite 3 years old at the time that we're recording this. You're going to celebrate your third anniversary in March of 2019. And what I love about your business, Alyce, is that for the most part, you're very clear on what you do, how you do it, and the parameters within how you will do it. And I think that that is really what I believe and what I know and what I try and teach the designers that I coach is that is literally 3/4 of the battle there, is to just set your game plan and stick to it. Would you tell us about some of the things that are the important values for you when you set up your business, when you go about your day, when you take your clients, when you run your projects? There's a couple of key things in there that I know that are your sort of North Stars in it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I would say in a lot of areas of my life, I'm a minimalist. And so that trickles into my business. the first thing that comes to mind is my vendor relationships. So, we see each other at market, and I'm there to be inspired by these, beautiful showrooms, but also really to get to know the lines that I carry and build those relationships with my reps within those showrooms. And so I try to really find vendors that enjoy working with designers, enjoy helping designers become profitable. That's important to me. And I want to be able to provide those products to my clients, and I want them to benefit from those relationships as well. And I want my business to benefit from that as well. So that's one area that comes to mind, is those vendor relationships, keeping those small, right? Rather than onesie twosies with hundreds and hundreds of vendors, really establishing that relationship.
I like that. So what you're saying is, instead of having 10 places that you could buy sofas from, you've focused on 2 or 3, and you're intentionally trying to establish a relationship where you are important to 2 or 3 as opposed to unknown to 8 or 10 or 20.
Yes, absolutely. So I particularly use Bassett Upholstery for my upholstery, and I have a great relationship with them. I know their line really well. So when it comes to, each project, I know, like, okay, that's their deep sofa, that's their track arm sofa. So it really helps me kind of complete things a lot faster too. And anytime that we have an issue, because I have that relationship, those issues are resolved very quickly. So I won't work with vendors that don't do that for my clients. So I can, be confident in telling my clients that they're going to get an excellent sofa. And when the issues arise, because they always do, that those issues will be resolved immediately.
I love it. I love that. You know that it's important when you do not have, I know a lot of designers will talk about, how do I suggest a sofa to a client if they can't sit on it, if they can't touch it, see it, feel it. But for you to be consistently investing in your business and going to the different markets, and like you said, know the deep sofa, know the fit, know the different profiles, it makes it so that you can cut right to the chase and be more confident in selling it to your client, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know, like, okay, that's the extra firm cushion. So I know who to recommend that to, or I know that particular sofa is modern and has a deeper cushion. So, and it's lower to the ground. So I'm able to even discuss that with my clients and show them the different lines, and maybe they like that. And then I can say, okay, great. You like that. How do you typically sit in your sofa? Do you like a sofa that's lower to the ground and deeper? Do you usually tuck your legs, behind you when you have your cup of coffee? So because I have that knowledge about their lines, I can really dig a little bit deeper with my clients. And then it lets them know, like, I know what I'm selling you.
Right.
I'm not just picking a pretty sofa.
I love it. And so along these lines, some of the other things that you have established as parameters in your business is that you are targeting a certain clientele. Correct? You're not worried about all over the map. You're pretty much going for, you're very well known in your particular area through your friends and family and PTA and different things like that. Is that correct?
Yes. So I am in South San Diego, Chula Vista particularly, and I would say 95% are here in Chula Vista. So that's been a great opportunity for me. My husband works as a teacher here in Chula Vista. We live here, so my kids go to school out here. We're involved in the community. So it's been great to, be able to drive 10 minutes to a client's house, or drop my kids off at school and do a site check 5 minutes from their school.
And what happens with this is that it's funny, because we talked a little off air. You mentioned how Ellie Morose is literally restricting her business to one single town, and yours has happened a little bit more organically. It's not that you set out to say, I'm only going to design in Chula Vista, but it's just become where you've gotten to know people, and of course you do good work, and so you continue to get referrals. But there is another element for you. The San Diego area traffic is quite crazy, and so for you to have, because one of your other parameters is to be able to raise your 2 young children and have a home life, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my kids are 5 and 7. My son just started kinder this year. So that's just been a whole nother new season of freedom in my business with scheduling, which has been great. But yes, you mentioned traffic, and that's huge. I have taken projects that are further north, and I have to be so strategic. And you don't know when you do a site checker, you have, a meeting with a client, you don't know how long that's going to run. And,
right.
You could end up running, somewhere else and grabbing tile while you're up there. And next thing you know, it's 2:30. And if it's after 2:30 and I'm going south, I'm in trouble. I'm going to sit in traffic for at least an hour. Right. And that's billable time, that I could be in my office. So that would be a whole nother thing, right, to look at. If I start to take work further north, now we're talking about that travel time and how we're going to bill that.
Exactly. And also it's taking time away from your children. Somebody else has to pick them up, or somebody else has to maybe, I know, your husband, I'm sure as a teacher, he's involved in all that. But the thing is that what I know, and I guess I'm putting a lot of the things that I already know about you in this that is not coming, we haven't established on the podcast from our conversations in real life. What I know is it's very important for you to run your business within the parameters of raising your small children. So you're not just saying, hey, if every single day for 5 days a week for 3 weeks in a row, I never pick up my kids, that's cool with me because I'm running my business. That's not where you're at right now in this stage of your life.
Yeah, absolutely not. So I love dropping my kids off at school. It's like a highlight of my day. I love that my son, he's, my daughter's second grade. So she gets dropped off, hug and kiss. It's great. Mm-hmm. We haven't lost that yet. Mm-hmm. But my son, he won't let me walk away until he's walked through the door. He wants a hug and a kiss right before the door closes. And I do not take those moments for granted, right, because I know that they're going to be gone soon. And even beyond that, once my kids are gone, I still want to love my husband. I want us to have a healthy relationship. And so that's important too, right? This work-life balance is very important.
Right. No, it's true. And so I think that what I love and what I've learned by talking to you is that you make conscious decisions and the decisions not only support your business, but they support your family life. And these decisions don't have to be decisions for all of our life, but in the seasons of our life, they make a lot of sense when we take both into account. And so here you are running a business that is under 3 years old and it is profitable. One of the things you also had shared with me before was that you started your business without debt and you continue to run it without debt. Do you have some things that you can share on that point that might be of help to our peers listening?
Absolutely. Yeah. My husband and I actually, when we got married, we read a book by Dave Ramsey, and he's big on, living debt-free. So that was important to us. So when I started my business, I wanted to start it debt-free and I wanted to run it debt-free. And I would say it's just looking at how you're spending your money and what's the return on the investment, right? I think the simplest things, right? Do I need the iPad Pro because it's the Pro, or, can I look at my options and maybe get the other iPad, still uses the pen, or I don't know. I just feel like every decision that I make for my business, I really do consider what's going to be the return on the investment.
I like it. It's smart. And the thing is, because a lot of times we make a decision between something that might be 600 and 800 and think, oh, what's the difference? But 10 of those decisions equal a lot of money. I don't know how much it equals because I'm horrible at that. I know everybody thinks this is a joke by now, that it can't possibly be real, but it is.
No, I don't do math in front of my clients, but I always need a calculator.
See, I want to say it's $10,000, or I'm saying, is it $1,000? Like, just the worst. Anyway, but it's a lot of dollars. That's what it is. It's a lot of dollars. And the thing is that we can kid ourselves that in the little places that they don't add up, but they do. And so what you're describing is that as a couple, for your personal life, that you and your husband are intentional about how you spend and what you spend and where you will go in, and what you will do in order to maintain your ideal, which is to be debt free. Okay. And then you carry that principle to your business. And the reason I make a point of it is because that's exactly it. It is a choice. It's actually a choice each day. You have a decision each time to do this or to do that, to do this or to do that. It's not just this, thing that happens at the end of the month of the year and you're magically in debt. It was a series of choices. And so I love that you have a commitment. And I don't even care if anybody's in debt or not. That's not the point. The point is that you have made a choice for yourself and you exhibit that ideal within your decisions each week and each day and each month. So I love that. So tell us a little bit more about the type of design that you do, the projects that you do, and how you are. Here you are under 3 years in business, and you are personally earning 6 figures. Okay, that's what you said to me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this isn't that you're grossing 6 figures in your business. This is that you are earning for your family's income 6 figures for your business. And I'm repeating that so clearly because it's under 3 years in business. And that's my point is it's possible to do. I've met many business owners, designers, and others that have done this, but it doesn't happen by accident. That's the thing. So tell us some of the things that you do, Alyce. What are the ways that you bring revenue into your business? How do you do this?
Gosh, that's a great question, LuAnn. Well, my primary service would be full service design. So to take a client from start to finish on a project. However, I can do other services. I offer other services like consulting. So every client starts with an in-home consultation, and I know this is always a discussion. So the in-home consultations there is a fee for them. We charge for our in-home consultations. They're up to 2 hours, and we give a lot of value. And another service that we offer for clients that maybe aren't ready to dive into a full service project is a 10-hour block of time. So that has been great for my business. A lot of clients have a hard time. They have sticker shock when they see the cost of like the services and the furnishings and the labor for your installers and subs and trades. So for them to be able to kind of chomp on it 10 hours at a time with me is great. Not everybody is going to, especially in my area. I would say when it comes to a kitchen renovation, we're not ordering custom cabinets. That's not usually what happens, but maybe we're painting the cabinets, replacing the countertops, doing a backsplash. And so I'm able to, manage those projects and consult on those projects. And then obviously the furnishings aspect of it. So, I mean, really, I have an hourly rate, and whatever my clients want me to do at that hourly rate, I will do for them for the most part, right?
Right. Well, and the thing is that I think that I have come to understand that I feel like, especially in the beginning years of an interior design business, that having the ability to just get through your head as the designer that it is okay for a client to purchase blocks of time. And to your point, we can do anything you want in that block of time. You want me to come in here for 3 hours and just reconfigure all of the furniture in 3 rooms so that it all looks like the way it should because you have the pictures too high and the sofa's in the wrong spot. Or you want me to go with you to the store to pick out the tile for your backsplash, but your husband is going to lay the backsplash down himself because he's, great at it, right? I mean, The point is that, and I've used the reference of the one designer that is here local to me in New Jersey, who her business model is strictly by the hour period. She doesn't do mood boards. She doesn't do anything. She only shops retail. Okay. So I don't necessarily love that part of it. I think that for like you, when you are establishing your trade accounts and you can make money on product as well, I like that a little bit better. But the reality is that you can make a great living on an hourly wage. If you're charging $150, $200 an hour and you're working, 25 hours a week in front of your client, I don't know, that's a nice living, isn't it?
It is. Yes, absolutely. And, not all my I see a lot of clients, and not all of them turn into a full service project or even a project. Sometimes it's just the in-home consultation, but the value that I bring during that time, and I think understanding that at the beginning, I thought, gosh, that's so much money, or what should I charge? And then I realized, you know what? I am saving people money sometimes when I do that in-home consultation. They may have been ready to rip out all the tile and pay for a demo. And instead I introduce them to, luxury vinyl that can be laid on top of a level. It can be floated. It can be laid on top of their tile. And now I've saved them on demo. So even if they may not choose to use me to select it, or that's all they're doing is just replacing their flooring, and that's why I got hired for the in-home consultation, those consults add up.
Right.
When you're doing 2 of them or more a week, that's an income in and of itself.
Right. And that's really what the thing is, to me, you're doing exactly what seems so logical to me to do, especially for the phase of your life. If I know that you do have the full service design, and when that comes along, you do it, and I'm sure it's very satisfying, and you love doing it in XYZ. But the reality is that when you have dual goals for yourself, that you want to be able to be there at the drop off and the pickup at school, you want to be able to make dinner for your family, you want to be able to have date night with your husband, you want to have your weekends off, but you want to make an income that is in line with your talents and your abilities and afford you a lifestyle. I mean, the reality is if you did 5 consults a week, 1 a day, and your consult is $295, that's $1,475 a week. Who cares if you're not doing a full service project? If you did that for 6 months in a row and made $1,500 a week. I mean, and the thing is, what I love about it is that that is something that you can manage within your children's life and your own personal life. You could say, I drop my kid off at 8:30 in the morning. I do a consult at 10 o'clock. I'm done at 12 o'clock. I go to the grocery store. I pick up my kid at 2:30. We have a life. I bring in $1,500 a week. And here's the thing. It is always going to result in somebody will then do the full service that you work into your thing. But even if in the beginning, 80%, 90% are just consults. If it is the beginning of your business, as your kids are going from the lower grades to the middle school, where now they go from school to basketball practice or school to brownies or whatever it may be, and your day can go from 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 or 5 o'clock, you've got a whole client list of people that you can go back and market to and say, I'm now taking on bigger projects. Do you have anything in mind, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I've been really blessed that my husband, as I mentioned earlier, is our school teacher. So he holds on to the kids in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So that has been awesome.
So you can work a couple of hours in the afternoons.
Yes. So we have the agreement that I drop off and he picks up. And, there are days where if I finish early or, maybe I am going to take like a 5 o'clock appointment, then I'll pick the kids up. I'll say, you know what, I'll pick them up at 2:30 and hang with them. And then he'll come home from work just in time for me to leave for the consult. So I try to surprise them when I can and pick them up. But I definitely drop them off every day, and that's important to me.
Right. And the thing is that we are at this level, what we're talking about is from just a completely transparent standpoint, when you are doing many of these consults and it doesn't extend to a fuller project, obviously the understanding is that the client is then taking your advice and doing it themselves. They're executing your ideas. So if you go in and you say, hey, don't rip up the tile, you can put a vinyl floor down, blah, blah, blah. If that stops at the consult, then they're going into their contractor, the Home Depot, wherever they're going, and they're going to go do it then, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, usually.
Right. Okay. And so the thing is, what's happening is I find that there is that little pushback for a designer who might think, well, I want to be the one to go and select the vinyl or to find the contractor. Like, I don't want to just do a consult. And I understand when you have a roster big enough and a pipeline big enough and you have the flexibility in your personal life to build that business, build it all day long. But when you do have these parameters, that you have other goals for your life that are not just for your business, then it is come down to the efficiency of making money. And you're the proof of doing 6 figures under 3 years because of the efficiency of the way you're willing to approach your business.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So now when you occasionally have the client, and I shouldn't say occasionally, when you have the client that goes from, hey, amazing consultation, love all that, and actually on thinking about it, I just as soon hire you to do it for me, right? So that happens. It's not that it never happens.
Yeah, I would say I'm running like 7 full service projects at a time, but in between that, I've always got in-home consultations. And then what I do is I taper off I use Acuity scheduling, which I know you use as well. So I just constantly update my schedule. If I know, okay, now that project's going into construction and I'm going to be on site, like I just want my attention on that project. And so I'll close off my calendar for a couple weeks and not take in-home consultations. So it kind of, it comes and goes. And maybe if there's a season where I feel like, okay, those projects are finishing up, but, I'm ready to start taking some more in-home consultations. So I'd say it's kind of on a rotation, but I like to try to keep a good set of full service projects running as I'm taking those consultations on the side.
I love it because you're fulfilling your creative juices as a designer in all aspects as far as consultations and full service, but you're really stretching it in the full service and having that enjoyment. But you're looking at the consultations as the bread and butter money that's coming through the door each week when you have the time to do it. And that's one of the things that have tried often to express to my baby designers is don't overlook this money. 2-3 consults a week pays the grocery bills and buys Nikes for your kids. I mean, let's be serious. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah.
And so when you are transitioning and you have these 7 projects that are happening, correct me, but I'm getting a sense that your client base and your projects are a healthy mix of retail and to the trade, so that it's not all strictly, you're not a designer who is at the point in their career that they're saying everything is trade sources, that you are probably shopping for and buying things retail also. Am I correct?
I'd say probably when it comes to furnishings, everything's trade.
Oh, good for you.
And then accessories is where I shop.
Okay. So that's awesome, Alyce. That's awesome. That's I love that. I didn't expect that, and I'm happy to know that. So now tell me, because of the point that you are in your business, I know that usually newer in business, we tend to be more plagued by the client that we show them a particular sofa and they want to go research it and shop it themselves. So you're sourcing trade, which I love, but are you running into that at this level, or have you passed through that already and you just close it down somehow?
I actually have never, I thought when I started selling trade that people would question, but they really don't. And I even tell my clients when I do my in-home consultation presentation, I walk them through like start to finish what it looks like to work with an interior designer. Most people, I'm the first interior designer they've worked with. And, I tell them how everything works, and it's all going to a receiver. And I let them know that once we get to presentation phase, I present all the materials and the textiles. They can feel and touch everything. And I tell them this. I say 95% of the time there's 0 changes, and I'm only offering my clients like one option. I don't do like, here's 3 options for a coffee table. Here's, 2 options for a sofa. I just present one concept, and 95% of the time they sign off on everything and it gets ordered the next week.
What do you think that is? Why do you think you're able to do that?
Sometimes I think a lot of options can be confusing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Maybe I feel like I present each item and I tell them why I've selected it. I'm pretty transparent. I'll tell them like, okay, we talked about how you have young kids, so we're going to do this round table. And, you said they run their cars on the table. And so we did this concrete table that's round, and it's, I kind of, everything I pick, I guess, gets a lot of thought put into it. Maybe I'm not sure, but they never really hesitate. Maybe there's a change in like, gosh, I don't know, the rug, but I don't have a lot of changes after I present because we've discussed so much about it at the forefront, right? Like, okay, we're going to do, for example, Revolution Performance Fabrics is a great partner that I work with, and I use them on a lot of my sectionals because I work with young families, and it's performance fabric that's bleach cleanable. So during my first initial consult, I've got my samples there, and I show it to them, and I tell them, okay, some people like white sofas but are afraid to have them because they'll get dirty. You can Sharpie this and it's going to come out, but it's up to you whether you want to be cleaning it periodically because you will see the dirt. Even though it will come out, you'll still have to put in the work to clean it.
Good point.
So we talk about a lot of that stuff ahead of time to get a real good grip of what they're looking for. Do you want a formal dining room, a more casual? We look at photographs to get a good idea of because a lot of people don't know what their design style is, or they like everything.
Right. I'm happy, but I'm surprised that, hey, I present these things, they buy them.
I know, I'm kind of surprised too.
Yes. But and I have to say, it occurs to me that there must be something in your delivery. I understand that you're taking a lot of time to pick the right item, but a lot of people take the right time, the amount of time they need to pick the right item, but still the client will push them back and say, okay, well, that's a round table and that's a durable surface, but is there another round table with a durable surface that I should look at? And the fact that you're not getting that pushback and you're not getting people that are saying, thanks so much for all of that, and I just went online and I saw this one. I think if I want to finish my sentence, I think that speaks to probably the confidence that you're displaying in the presentation. Okay, that's number one. But number two, when you set up your parameters for your consultation, and you've not for the consultation but for the project, do you tell them, I am going to specify trade sources. We are not ordering this retail. If you're ordering retail, we're not doing this. Like, do you set it up, or what? How do you do that?
Yeah, I let them know. A lot of my clients kind of maybe have been following me on Instagram, so they know that I go to these trade shows. And when I'm at these trade shows, I take a lot of video and I kind of share that experience with my clients. And I'm excited to use these products. So I come back and I tell my clients, like, they just released this line and we got to see it before it hit stores. And I'm excited to share those products with my clients. So I do let them know everything is ordered and it all goes to a receiver. So, and I tell them we're buying the same stuff. I say one of the things I do when I go on these trade shows is I ask the manufacturers who they sell to, because that really gives me an idea of the quality of the product and the competitors. And I said, we're able to get that exact same product and it gets shipped to a warehouse where it's checked for damage. And, we're not having all these deliveries coming in all at once. I let them know that having a relationship direct with the manufacturer means that we're not going to like a customer service in a store who then has to reach out to the headquarters, who then has to reach out to the manufacturer. I tell them, I know when that container is on the water and when it's coming to us, and you're not having to talk to 15 people to get that information.
Okay. So you're selling all the value. You're selling all the value. So you're just, and I'm curious, and in that selling all the value, do you actually express, and this is how it's going to be? In other words, do you say the words, we're not going to go to the local retail showroom and buy these things? Or
no, I don't. I don't need to. I have to say it, right? Because I'm pretty clear. Like, I will order and I show them exactly what a proposal looks like from a sample project. And I say, I will make all the selections. Everything's ordered from my accounts. I'll present it all. You accept or decline. And then we go into the ordering phase. That's 6 to 8 weeks. So they have a really good idea of exactly every single step and how long everything's going to take, and that I'm handling everything. and they just are along for the ride to like not have to deal with any of the frustrations. That's what they're paying me for.
And I guess inherent in this whole thing is it goes back to the beginning of the conversation. Any client that pushes back on this process, you can simply go back to and say, look, you can buy my packages by the hour and I can give you all the ideas under the sun and you can run around in circles and order everything. But when you go to full service, this is how I do it. Is that the distinction in your mind?
Yeah, I honestly, most of if I have done hourly projects, they're still ordered. Things are typically still ordered trade. So I don't really do a ton of retail. Like I don't go to Pottery Barn or Restoration Hardware and shop with my clients. Just because I want to be involved in the whole process. And I feel like I can give them a better product for a better price and much more well thought out. And I let them know if you go and shop and select items, now we're having to photograph, I'm having to come take measurements and having to modify the design plan. So, that's extra time on my part that's spent when they go off and do their own thing.
Okay. I think the reason I'm hammering on this is because, and I'm searching for, what do you as a designer, you and your colleagues call the level where you feel you're placed, Alyce? You said to me off air, look, I'm not doing high level luxury interior design at this point in my career. Maybe one day I will, but I'm not saying that that's where I'm at now. What do you call where you are? What would you say? How do you describe it?
Well, my business tagline is real life, real design. So, I don't know it's everyday, your everyday homeowner is what I say. I mean, everybody needs furniture.
Right.
And a lot of people are shopping at these places like Pottery Barn and Restoration Hardware. And I would say the products that I'm offering my clients are comparable in cost and higher in quality.
Right. Okay. So, and I think that's part of, somebody listening might be like, why are you harping on her like this? But I think the difference is when I know I'm talking with a Marie Flanagan, when, these Laura Umanskis, these high level interior designers, it's understood that the client is going to do all this. But I think that it is less understood how realistic it is and how possible it is to run your business this way when you are dealing with real life and real design for all of us regular people. I think that I know that for a fact that often when I have conversations with designers who are, as I said, how do you call yourself, right? Because we know what to call those guys. What do we call the rest of us that are at this level, right? And so I didn't want to put the moniker on it. But the point of it is that so often I get pushback. This, oh, well, I can't do that in my business. My clients won't go for that. I can't just do trade sources. They want me to find it at Wayfair or Restoration or blah, blah, blah. And I know that there are people like you that are doing real design for real people with real, average budgets, not, crazy astronomical budgets, and doing it in this what I want to call professional way, where you are running the business on your terms. It's like, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is how it's going to get done. And you're going to sit back and be the partner, but I'm going to do all the work, right?
Right.
It's possible.
Well,
you're doing it.
There's way more clients that are not high end, I think.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's the truth. Right. Exactly.
And everybody wants a beautiful space. And I think it's also my personality and the season of life that I'm in with my children. I don't want to own anything in my own home that I would be just mortified if it was damaged. Right. I just don't. And so same thing with my clients. If we're going to spend a little bit more on that sofa, then it's going to be bleach cleanable, because I want it to last for you and your kids and your dog. Right. And I want you to entertain, and the value that, comes from that. I want you to leave your vacation and want to come home because of the comforts that we've created in your home. Right.
I think it's awesome. I love it. I love that like I said, to me, it's the expression, your conversation is the expression of two things that are entirely possible. It is entirely possible to be a baby designer, technically, be very profitable, earn six figures, and run the project as in the way that we think of the way luxury designers run the projects, where I run it. I'm in charge of it. You don't get to shop me. You don't get to, do all this other stuff. And you're doing it, and I love it. I love it.
I love it too.
So, Alyce, let me ask you a question a little bit about pricing. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but you mentioned in your full service, you are obviously providing designs and making selections and all of that, and you're placing the orders. Do you do a flat fee? Do you do an hourly? How do you work that?
So everything is hourly, and I have a tracker, a time tracker, and I turn it on when I work on my client's project. Or if I'm out, in the field, I'm tracking that time as well. And everything, regardless of if I'm ordering or traveling or doing a site visit, it's always billed at the hourly rate.
Okay. And do you have one hourly rate for every activity that you do? Or do you have one hourly rate for design work and one hourly rate for travel or ordering and things like that?
Yeah, I have one hourly rate across the board for everything.
Okay. And what is your hourly?
Right now it's $120 for 2018, and it'll go up to $140 in 2019.
Okay. I like that. Well, I have to say, truthfully, at $120 and $140 an hour, it should be pretty much the same. When we have designers that are $275 and $280 an hour, you can understand that it's $275 or $280 an hour for design, and then maybe it's $120 for admin and things like that, right?
Yeah. And as you have heard, I'm a minimalist. So I'm like, let's just keep it a flat rate.
Let's keep it easy.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then what do you use for your time tracker, Alyce?
So I am on Ivy, and they have a built-in time tracker, so I can go into my projects and I can start a timer for a particular project.
Okay. All right. I love it. I mean, and I can't not let this go by, but we all know that my Doma Studio is my sponsor, and they also have a time tracker too. So I really didn't know what platform you were using. So if you are interested in my Doma Studio, they have a time tracker now too. Okay. So this is really pretty fantabulous what you're doing there, Alyce. Anything that we didn't cover that you think, I know that you are a loyal listener of the show, so I know you understand the format and the kinds of things that we like to cover. Anything that when you were thinking about preparing to be on the show that you thought, I'd love to share this or tell other designers this because this is helpful to me, or this is something that I really know helps me be profitable? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, I think staying focused and kind of keeping your eyes on the prize and not getting too distracted with everything that's around us. I mean, it's so great that we have this community and so many resources, but at the same time, it can be very overwhelming, and it can make you feel like you're not doing enough. And so I try to, we're coming to the end of a year and finishing up Q4. And so I'm looking at numbers, and I'm going to do a vision board and think about what are my personal goals for me, for my business, not looking at what everybody else is doing and what everybody else has, but what is my goal? How am I best going to work with my clients this coming year? What's the value that I'm going to bring? What things do I need to look at in my business that need to improve? And kind of create a priority list of what those things are and what I'm going to eliminate off my plate to make room for those things that are important in this season, right? Because your business is always evolving and things are changing, and you have to reanalyze. And so to really look at that and see why am I not profitable, or where am I most profitable, and really make that come together to benefit you, your business, and your clients.
I love it. So basically it's sit down with yourself, have a discussion with yourself. What do you want? How are you going to achieve it? Analyze what's working, what's not working, get real, cut the dead weight, make a list, and do it, right?
Yeah. I know when it comes down, sometimes I'm like, it's really easy. It's really basic. I mean, it's not. You got to put in a lot of work, right? But when you really get down to the nitty gritty, 1 + 1 = 2, right?
That's right. Well, that's what it is. I think that is the biggest lesson right there that you just mentioned, is that it is easy, but it's not easy because you actually have to do it. But the thing is, there are steps, there are things to do, and we know what they are. It's just that the hard part is doing them. The hard part isn't finding out what it is to do. The hard part is doing them. And it's the people like yourself that commit to doing them that then have the success. I recently was at something where the speaker was going on about the fall season and how the farmers are, what you sow, you reap. And sometimes it takes weeks or months until you reap what you sow. And of course, it's both good and bad. And the thing is, it is Q4 as you and I are interviewing this. And if you sit down and you plan ahead for 2019, it's like the farmers planting the seeds and waiting for the harvest to come in the spring and the summer. But if you don't plant it, it's not going to grow. It's not going to happen. Weeds happen. Some good things happen. Some bad things happen. But it needs to be thoughtfully done. And that is, I think, the big takeaway, Alyce, with you is that even though you're only in business under 3 years, that you are always recalibrating. You mentioned how your children are a different stage. Now you've got 2 in school. So it's a different calendar for you already. It's a different availability of your work schedule. And it's having that time to think and to your point, focus and create the business that you want to create. I think it's awesome. Good for you, Alyce. Good for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So what you're going to have to do, what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to make your thing. You just said that you're going to go through and you're going to set your personal goals. You're going to create a vision board. You're going to create a priority list for yourself. You're going to look at where you've been profitable and where you weren't. I would love it if you put all that down and then maybe this time next year you share with us what your goals were and what the things that you put on that, and we'll kind of checklist if you got them or not and where you got them. Right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I did it last year and it was fun to look back and say, one of the things was we wanted to buy a new car for me. And we did that. And we
Good for you.
We wanted to go on a family vacation and we went to Aulani as a family. So there's, personal goals too.
That are included in it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's great to celebrate them then when they happen. You're like, woohoo, this is
That's right.
Hard work and dedication, right?
That's it. That's it. So I would be very interested to know your business goals and your personal goals, and we'll do this again next year, okay?
You got it. Thank you so much, LuAnn.
Oh, you're welcome, Alyce. I'm looking forward to when we see each other again.
Wonderful. Thank you. Me too.
Several nice takeaways from Alyce, don't you think? For example, her commitment to going to the various furniture markets, but always with a specific agenda, which is to find the vendors that align with her clients, to broaden her knowledge of the product offerings of her existing vendors, and to deepen those relationships with her existing vendors. She's pretty clear that these trips, which take her from her family and business, must be productive, and it must benefit her clients and the goals she has for her firm. I love that. And it reminds me of the episodes with both Monique Holmes, number 365, and Dina Holland, number 354. Both of these episodes, these designers talked about the importance of finding, knowing, and having trade accounts and establishing your go-to brands. Okay, so check those out if you need more information about that. Another thing I love about Alyce's firm, especially as a new business, is that while she does offer full-service design, she is perfectly happy to do both one-off consultations as well as sell a 10-hour time block. You know what I like about this is that so many people have not worked with an interior designer before. And when you do this, when you offer these as one-off services, it makes it so that a potential client who has never worked with you or any designer before, even more to the point, it gives them the ability to work with you on a finite basis, a way that has a built-in end. And because it has that built-in end, it makes it easier for that potential client to say the first yes, which is to hire you for that consultation or that block of time. Okay. And the thing is, once you get them in that first yes and they experience either your consultation or the several hour time block, it makes it easier for them to move to the next yes, which is the full service yes. Okay. So I think in the beginning of your business, and it could be for the life of your business, depending on your business model, but particularly in the beginning to get you up and running and getting some money in the bank and getting some, a pipeline of clients that can potentially turn into full service. Okay. You just got to get your feet wet with them. They have to get to know you. You need to get to know them. And it gives you the ability to convert a smaller sale, a smaller project, a smaller engagement into a longer, more meaningful one. Okay. All right. I also just love how specific Alyce is about how her process is and that she describes it to her client. And that's sort of it. She just says, this is how it's going to be. And that's how it is. And did you hear when I asked her, do they ever say no, or she was sort of like, well, no. And it's because she just has this very quiet confidence in that this is her business and this is the way it's run. And that's what you're striving for. You're striving for that level of knowing what it is that you do so clearly and so thoroughly. And when I say that, I don't mean what you do when you design a room as far as how the size of the sofa is and the size of the rug. I mean the way you go about the process of designing the room, okay? When you have that very clearly established in your mind, that's when you start to gain that quiet confidence where you say, nope, this is how I do it. First I do this, then I do this, and then I do that. And that's how it goes, Mr. or Mrs. Client. Okay. And so that's your goal. You're looking for that. I have to tell you, I, for one, am looking forward to talking to Alyce next year on the show. And Alyce, I'm asking you to remind me to come back to me next year, fourth quarter, and let's go through, just as we said, the goals that you've got for yourself, to share with us your vision board and share with us what you've reached, because I know that you are a lady who reaches her goals, and I'm so excited for that. I hope all of you are taking borrowing just a little bit of confidence from Alyce and a little bit of that, you know what, I'm entitled to make money. I'm entitled to be a profitable business person. I'm entitled to be successful even really early in my career. Okay? You are entitled. All right? Make a decision. Decide, what are you going to do? You have so little time left in the fourth quarter of 2018, but you have tons of time left in the fourth quarter of 2018 to make a decision. One decision that will change the direction of your business. Okay? What will it be? Love for you to share it with me. Follow me on Instagram at LuAnn Nigara. I love it when you comment on the day's show right there in the post for the show. Love to know what you think about each guest and the lesson that you learned from them, your aha moment. So please go there, LuAnn Nigara on Instagram, okay? Also, if you want to know anything about where I'm going to be, events that I'm running, events that I'm going to attend, you can always find that at LuAnnNigara.com. Okay, we have the events tab there. And also, too, just to let you know, iTunes doesn't have the first 299 episodes on iTunes. I don't know what that's about, but all of the episodes are always on my website. Okay? So that's LuAnnNigara.com. All righty, guys. I hope that you're making a decision to change your business for the better today. All right? Decide to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.